In the previous chapter, we introduced declarable and resolvable configurations and learned that configurations can extend from other configurations. We also looked at how different plugins provide different configurations. In this chapter, we will look at commonly used configurations in Java applications. There are 4 resolvable configurations that you need to keep in mind when working on a Java project: compileClasspath, runtimeClasspath, test compileClasspath, and test runtimeClasspath. The compileClasspath is the configuration that holds the artifacts that Gradle will use to compile your Java code. The runtimeClasspath is the configurations that holds the artifacts that are needed when executing your project. The test compileClasspath is the configuration that holds the artifacts that Gradle will use to compile your Java test classes. The test runtimeClasspath is the configuration that holds the artifacts that are needed when running tests for your project. You cannot declare dependencies directly to these resolvable configurations. Instead, you declare dependencies on declarable configurations in build files that these resolvable configurations extend from. Let's take a look at which declarable configuration each resolvable configuration extends from. The 2 main declarable configurations that compileClasspath extends from are compileOnly and implementation. There are other configurations that compileClasspath extends from as well, which will be covered in the next chapter. Any dependencies put in these configurations will be merged into the compileClasspath. The runtimeClasspath extends from implementation and runtimeOnly. The 2 main declarable configurations test compileClasspath extends from are test compileOnly and test implementation. It's important to understand that just like resolvable configurations can extend from other configurations, so can declarable configurations. Test implementation extends from implementation. Any dependencies you declare in the implementation will be merged into test implementation, which will be subsequently merged into test compileClasspath. The test runtimeClasspath extends from test implementation and test runtimeOnly. Test runtimeOnly extends from runtimeOnly. As we've seen, the implementation configuration gets merged into all of these resolvable configurations. So you want to be thoughtful when adding dependencies to implementation. Only add dependencies to implementation that are really needed in the resolvable configurations. Otherwise, it will clutter your class path. Remembering which configurations extends from which others may take time and experience. The documentation has diagrams for the resolvable configurations that you can always reference. A lot of times, when you will add a dependency to your application, you may be tempted to copy-paste the recommendation from Maven Central. But you should always consider whether or not the implementation configuration is the best choice. In the docs, here are the commonly used configurations you will use when working on a Java application where the application plugin has been applied. You will see different configurations when you apply the Android Gradle plugin or the Kotlin multi-platform plugin. Also, when applying the Java library plugin, there are additional configurations made available, which we will learn about in the next chapter.